Welcome everyone to my video. Today we have my audience. This is my sister Megan and Parker. They've already reviewed my website and they have a bunch of things that they would like to discuss today. And so first we're going to start off by addressing the question, what is globalization? So Megan, in your own words, what do you think globalization is? There's no wrong answer.
I think that it means how well your country is developing.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
well a country or a state is developing.
Okay, what do you think, Parker?
I'd have to agree with what Megan said.
Okay, so defined on Wikipedia, globalization is a process of interaction and integration among the people, companies, and governments of different nations. So basically it's talking about the trading, what's going on, what's happening in every single country. But specifically my country is Georgia, which is located in Northern Europe. So we're going to be talking about Georgia and the country and what's going on over there. So it is important for you guys to know exactly where Georgia is, right? So if you guys know where the Black Sea is in Russia, it's like right in between there. And it's really interesting because there's some parts of it that are really, really developed and have a really high globalization level. And there's other parts that are really, really impoverished, really poor, and there's other parts that aren't as fully developed. So the overall globalization level of the country is, do you remember from looking over my website?
2.0.
Yes, exactly. So what that means basically is that it's kind of right in the middle. The United States is a 3.0 country, and there's lots of countries in Africa that are like 1.0 due to their poverty and other reasons. So now we're going to talk about Millennial Development Goals. So Megan, my sister, took this class last semester. So Megan, what kind of development goals do you remember, and what are millennial goals?
Millennial goals are goals that have been made to help the globalization of different countries, and they include like poverty, education, hunger, things like that.
Yeah, Parker, do you remember how many there are?
Is there 8?
Yes, there's eight different goals, and all of these goals are really important. Each one of them plays a significant part and role in the development of any country, not just Georgia. So we're going to talk about the first one for a second. The first one is eradicate extreme poverty. Now, here in America, we don't really know what that's like. We don't really experience poverty, and the things that we see that we think are poor, really aren't even that poor. Megan and I visited Costa Rica this winter, and Megan, will you tell me a little bit about the poverty there and how it compares to the poverty here, so we can just get an idea of really what is extreme poverty?
They don't live in the best living conditions. For example, we visited like a family of 6, and they lived in like a tiny room. And they also have like tin roofs, and so when it rains, rain gets in.
How do you think that would affect their standard of living or their lifestyle or their happiness or anything like that?
Well, I don't really think it affects their happiness because that's all they know. They don't know that there's something better. They don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So in class, we were talking about first world problems, and we had to state our favorite first world problems. And do you guys know what those are, first world problems? What's some first world problems that we have here in the first world?
Like when your phone dies.
Like when your phone dies, yeah. What else?
When your dishwasher breaks.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good one. Anyways, okay. So in Georgia, eradicating extreme poverty is their #1 goal. Right now, 55% of the country's territory is in poverty, and it's really important that they work on this goal. One of their main reasons to help improve The poverty is to work on hunger, because that's something that a lot of people go without with is food. So the first factor and highly effective in addressing extreme poverty is the lack of income to satisfy the needs of food. So first we have to start by going to the income, and then we have to go to education, which leads us to our next goal, which is improve the quality of education systems. Because if you educate people, then they can grow up to make more money, to provide food for their families, and then it's just like a cycle. So why do you guys think that improving education is something that will help develop Georgia even further?
Well, I think like you said, when they have a higher education, they can make more money and provide more for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can provide more to society, then
Mm-hmm. For example, here in America, have you seen any examples of that, Parker? Someone who didn't have a lot, and then maybe in a movie or some story, they needed an education and it really enabled them to help make a difference.
Yeah. Say for instance, if a person isn't educated and is working really hard at a low-paying job. If say he's educated, he can earn a lot more money. Not necessarily, but sometimes working less. So he would have an easier life, I'd say.
Yeah.
But not always. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a really good point, and that will allow them to have time for other things and improve their quality of life, for sure. Okay. So the next goal is to promote gender equality and empower women. And luckily here in America, we still don't really have to deal with that a ton, because things have improved so much, and there's a lot more women graduating from college, getting jobs that normally men have and stuff like that. But in Georgia, this is something that's huge. There's websites all over it, and there's a bunch of things that Georgia wants to help have stronger women in their country. So one of their goals is to ensure gender equality in employment. So that means that they have to make the same amount of money. If a guy is being a lawyer and a girl is a lawyer, they should make the same amount of money regardless of their gender. So that's one of their huge goals. And the other one is ensure equal access to the political domain and all levels of management. So basically that means if a guy can be in the government, a woman should be able to do it too, so they can all be equal. And some of the ways they're planning on doing this is they have a bunch of clubs and stuff like that, and they're just making it more well known to everyone. And they also have access to education for girls needing special care. And so they also are making sure that textbook and learning materials are not, when you go to school and you read a book about a guy that does all this stuff, it's kind of promoting only. Mm-hmm. So there's they want to make sure the media is portraying it as well. So goal number 4 is reduce child mortality. Now to me, this goal is super, super important, but Megan, why do you think this goal would be important?
can you explain?
Yeah, so what child mortality is the number of children that die, and usually this happens because of illness or improper medical care when delivering the baby, and it's something that's really unnecessary. They shouldn't be dying because there are ways to prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
So in Georgia, there is a 14.21% of every 1,000 births of babies that die, which is pretty normal compared to the rest of the world. However, it's a little bit higher. So how do you think that any country could improve this, Parker?
Maybe, I guess, I don't know exactly if it happens or not, but maybe having a better hospitals to have kids,
Yeah.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cleaner, more
I
safe.
think that if you're working on to reach the other goals as well, then you can reach that one, because if you do education and poverty and all that,
Yeah.
that helps it too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Some of the things that they're working on is to try to educate mothers, because sometimes mothers like don't know what to do when they're pregnant. They don't know like what kind of vitamins they need to take, what precautions they need to take, what they can and can't do. So that's one thing that they want to do. Hospitals and like cleaner environments is one of them as well, and lowering the cost to be able to pay for medical help. Another one that they have is they want to make sure that it's readily available to give every child like vaccines and stuff that they need so that they don't get sick so soon. Okay, goal number 5. This one is improve maternal health. So this is kind of like the flip side. So it's like instead of children dying, it's like mothers dying while they're pregnant because they don't have the help necessary that they need. So luckily this isn't a huge problem in Georgia. However, I'm just going to read this little thing right here. It says, the maternal mortality ratio is high compared to the same parameters in Europe. So this is because sometimes they get abortions and they don't really know like what they're doing, the doctors do, and so it causes a lot of death, which is kind of scary. And sometimes when they're giving birth, it's not in a hospital, it's like in rural areas, and it's just very like unsanitary. So that is something that can hopefully be fixed in the near future. Okay, number 6, combat diseases. Okay, what are some like diseases that you guys have heard of that have like killed a lot of people?
Malaria, HIV, AIDS.
Yep, and those actually are like the biggest problems that they have, and they're trying to eliminate them completely. Why do you think combating diseases would help raise the globalization level, Parker?
Because less people would die and there would be more people help the world, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of just unnecessary when there's certain parts of the world that don't have to suffer from these diseases. Why should other countries have to go through those things as well when we have like the medicine necessary to overcome it? Okay, goal number 7 is ensure environmental sustainability. What do you think that even means?
Clean environment, safe place to live.
Exactly. So the current situation in Georgia is, here's the picture right here of Georgia right now. It's kind of like a swampy area. And it's interesting because Georgia is really beautiful and really green. And you would think that it had a very good environmental sustainability. However, the current situation is Georgia has demonstrated its adherence to principles of environmental sustainability by integrating them into national policies and programs. So rather than actually like changing, it's more just in the government and they're just talking about it. However, the weakness in implementing and monitoring these commitments remains a considerable impediment for a successful turnaround of the loss of environmental resources. The international target of achieving a significant improvement in the lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers under the goal on environmental stability was just adjusted to the Georgian context. So basically what it's saying right here is they kind of talk about it a lot, but nothing's really happened. And so on my website, like you guys read, there's like a bunch of things they're trying to do. Like they're trying to work on like the forestry, access to safe water, and things like that to help make the world go round. Okay, and the final goal is Global Partnership for Development. So there's like 3 main goals. Do you want to read them again? Just these 3 right here.
Develop further open, rule-based, predictable, non-discriminatory trading and financial system. Deal comprehensively with the debt problems of developing countries through national and international measures in order to make debt sustainable in the long term. And ensure improved accessibility to communication systems countrywide, minimize digital inequality between urban and rural areas.
So do you feel like these goals are realistic and they'll help increase the globalization level?
Yeah, I would say so.
Why?
Because I think as you work on all of them, they'll help the globalization.
Okay, sweet. That's a good answer. Something else that's like really important with it is their